Welcome to Chasing Curiosity TV. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. Manila stands firm, its skyline bathed in the golden light of dawn, a symbol of resilience and hope for the Filipino people. The Philippine flag flutters proudly, a testament to the nation's enduring spirit in the face of adversity. President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. steps forward, defending Philippine sovereignty amidst mounting Chinese pressure. His resolve is clear, his voice unwavering as he addresses the nation and the world, determined to protect the country's territorial integrity. In a grand international conference hall buzzing with anticipation, President Marcos prepares to address a gathering of global leaders. The air is thick with tension, as diplomats and officials from around the world await his words, knowing the stakes are higher than ever. On September 29, 2025, Marcos stands resolute at the podium, his gaze steady and his message clear. He speaks not just to those present in the hall but to the entire world, especially to Beijing, whose actions in the region have drawn international scrutiny. The forum serves as the latest stage for the escalating conflict in the South China Sea, a region fraught with disputes over territory, resources, and national pride. Tensions have reached a boiling point, with the world's eyes fixed on every development. Just moments before, a high-ranking Chinese general had publicly questioned the Philippines' recent actions, hinting at alleged external interference and casting doubt on Manila's intentions. The challenge was unmistakable, a direct provocation on the world stage. Marcos listens intently, his expression focused and unyielding. He is ready to respond, prepared to defend his nation's honor and assert its rights under international law. The room grows silent, all eyes on the Philippine leader. This moment is the culmination of months of rising tensions in the West Philippine Sea. Chinese Coast Guard vessels have repeatedly confronted Philippine missions, leading to dangerous standoffs and raising fears of a broader conflict. The stakes could not be higher for both nations. The world watches closely as the Philippines boldly defies a regional superpower. News outlets broadcast live updates, analysts debate the implications, and ordinary citizens across the globe follow the unfolding drama, aware that the outcome could reshape the balance of power in Asia. Marcos's response in this critical moment will define his administration's foreign policy for years to come. Will the Philippines bow to pressure, or will it stand tall and champion a rules-based international order? The answer will send ripples far beyond the conference hall. As Marcos's words echo through the auditorium, they resonate far beyond its walls. This is more than a diplomatic dispute. It is a modern-day David and Goliath struggle, with the Philippines determined to defend its sovereignty and inspire nations facing similar challenges. The world waits to see what comes next. The Chinese general's question was sharp, calculated, and delivered with the weight of authority. In a room filled with diplomats and military officials, his words cut through the air, demanding attention and sparking a ripple of unease among the assembled delegates. He asked with a tone both accusatory and rhetorical, "Why does a certain country disrupt regional peace and invite external forces into our backyard?" The implication was clear, and all eyes turned toward the Philippine delegation. China framed the Philippines as the provocateur, pointing to its increased naval patrols in disputed waters, its vocal condemnations of Chinese actions, and its deepening military ties with the United States. These, according to Beijing, were not acts of self-defense but deliberate provocations designed to destabilize the region. Beijing went further, suggesting that Manila was acting not on its own behalf, but as a pawn in a broader strategy orchestrated by outside powers to contain China's rise. This, they argued, violated the long-standing principle that Asian problems should be solved by Asians themselves, without interference from distant superpowers. The stakes, the general warned, were dangerously high. With military ships and aircraft from multiple nations operating in close proximity, the risk of miscalculation or accidental conflict was immense. China issued a stern warning: the Philippines' actions, if unchecked, could easily spiral into a wider military clash, one that would threaten the peace and stability of the entire region. The question was more than a challenge. It was a strategic move to diplomatically isolate the Philippines. By painting Manila as a reckless troublemaker, China sought to turn the spotlight away from its own actions and rally other Southeast Asian nations to its side, or at least to sow doubt about the Philippines' intentions. It was, in many ways, a masterful piece of public diplomacy. The general's words resonated with Southeast Asian nations already wary of being caught in the crossfire of great power competition. Some leaders nodded in agreement while others exchanged uneasy glances, aware of the delicate balance they must maintain. Now, all attention shifted to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. He stood at the podium, fully aware that his response would not only define the Philippines' position, but also shape the narrative for the entire region. The moment called for clarity, resolve, and a compelling defense of his nation's actions and sovereignty. President Marcos began his rebuttal with a calm reference to international law, stating the Philippines' actions were anchored in UNCLOS. "We are not seeking conflict," he declared, "but abiding by international law." He reminded the audience of the 2016 arbitral award favoring the Philippines, invalidating China's 9-line. The award is final and legally binding, he asserted, framing the Philippines' stance as a defense of law. This appeal to UNCLOS shifted the debate to a matter of legal principle. Marcos argued that disregarding a binding ruling risks the entire framework of global governance. He was speaking for every smaller nation relying on international law for protection. Marcos's argument presented a choice: support a world governed by laws or accept one where might makes right. President Marcos has taken a clear and unwavering stance on the definition of the Philippines' territory, grounding his position in the precise legal framework established by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. By referencing these internationally recognized boundaries, he not only asserts the nation's rights but also signals a commitment to global norms and legal standards. According to Marcos, our exclusive economic zone, stretching far beyond the shores of Manila, is as integral to the Philippines as the capital city itself. This vast maritime area is not just a resource-rich expanse, it is a vital part of our national identity, supporting the livelihoods of countless Filipino fishermen and communities who depend on the sea for their daily sustenance. In his speeches, Marcos has drawn a sharp contrast between the Philippines' principled, law-abiding approach and the coercive actions taken by China in disputed waters. He has repeatedly called out the use of intimidation and force, emphasizing that such tactics undermine regional stability and threaten the rights of smaller nations. "We follow the rules," Marcos has emphasized, positioning the Philippines as a responsible and reliable stakeholder in the international community. By upholding international law, the country demonstrates its dedication to peaceful coexistence and mutual respect among nations. Marcos has warned that strict adherence to the rule of law is the only true path to lasting peace and security in the region. He argues that when nations respect agreed-upon rules, conflicts can be resolved through dialogue and legal processes rather than through confrontation. Allowing even a single nation to disregard international law, Marcos cautions, sets a dangerous precedent that could unravel decades of diplomatic progress and threaten the stability of the entire international system. By taking this firm position, Marcos has placed the Philippines at the forefront of the global effort to maintain a stable and just world order. The country's actions serve as a beacon for other nations facing similar challenges. This resolute stance sends a powerful message not only to the international community but also to every Filipino citizen. The Philippines will defend its rights, uphold the law, and stand proud on the world stage. Marcos's defense of Philippine territory is more than a diplomatic maneuver. It is a stirring affirmation of national pride, unity, and the enduring spirit of the Filipino people. His unwavering commitment to the rule of law stands as both a cornerstone of foreign policy and a solemn promise to his citizens that the Philippines will always champion justice, sovereignty, and peace for generations to come. The conversation turned critical when asked about potential escalation. Marcos stated that harm to a Filipino citizen would be a red line, close to an act of war. He defended the Philippines' partnership with the U.S. as a necessary defense component. "Our alliances are not to provoke, but to maintain peace through deterrence," he clarified. "The Mutual Defense Treaty with the U.S. is the bedrock of our security strategy. Preparing for worst-case scenarios is a responsible duty, not aggression," he argued. "The primary motivation is protecting his people from fishermen to soldiers. I will not abandon them," Marcos declared, framing the struggle in human terms. This people-centric argument justified the high-risk strategy his government pursued. President Marcos outlined a plan to bolster the Philippines' defense capabilities. Horizon 3 would shift the military's focus to external defense. "Our armed forces must adapt to the new reality," he stated. "The initiative involves acquiring advanced military hardware for credible deterrence. We are building a force to defend our maritime domain, not attack," he emphasized. Marcos linked modernization with strengthening alliances as force multipliers. Partnerships with the US, Japan, Australia, and India provide support. Our alliances are a testament to a free and open Indo-Pacific, he argued. The Philippines was ready to take its defense into its own hands. President Marcos emphasized regional unity and dialogue. The path to peace runs through ASEAN, he declared, advocating for peaceful dispute resolution. He contrasted ASEAN unity with China's divisive actions in the South China Sea. True ASEAN centrality requires respect for sovereignty and legal rights, he stated. Unity must be built on equality and international law, not intimidation. Marcos reinterpreted non-interference as mutual respect. Defending one's territory is not interference, he countered. He called for a legally binding code of conduct in the South China Sea. We will pursue peace from a position of strength and principle, he concluded. President Marcos explained why the South China Sea dispute matters globally. The waterway is critical for global trade, with trillions passing through annually. Stability here is a global necessity, he argued, warning of severe economic consequences. The conflict tests whether international law prevails over power. Ignoring a binding ruling threatens the world order, Marcos warned. The struggle is for sovereign equality, where all states are equal under the law. Today it is the Philippines, tomorrow it could be any nation, he stated. His final appeal was a call for global support of international law. The future of the Indo-Pacific and global order may be decided here. President Marcos's defense presented a compelling case for the Philippines' actions. He reframed the narrative from provocation to principled defiance. By anchoring arguments in international law, he positioned the Philippines as a defender of the global order. The challenge for peace remains immense, with risks of miscalculation. The Philippines, under Marcos, will not be a passive bystander. Its active role has reshaped the dispute dynamics, drawing global attention. The debate tests international law's efficacy in resolving disputes. The Philippines' stand serves as a reminder that legitimacy is measured by adherence to the law.